Samaritan is Amazon Prime's newest superhero film starring Sylvester Stallone, and there are so many times I think he's going to do a Rocky line, but he doesn't. It's like, so many missed opportunities, but anyway. This revolves around a young boy who is obsessed with Samaritan. So Samaritan is the superhero of this story, and there's Nemesis as well. So they're two brothers who have a massive battle, and I really like the introduction of these superheroes. So the boy is telling us the story, and the animation of telling these superheroes' antics and the big fight and the big climactic battle that these guys have. It is a really cool introduction in terms of how they introduce the characters into it. But we do follow obviously our young boy who he's 13 and he's running around with the wrong crowd. Chemistry between Sylvester Stallone's character and obviously the boy. So the boy is always looking for a role model because he's a young adolescent boy who's unfortunately gets mixed up into some unfortunate, unsavory people, and he really takes the liking to Samaritan. You can see he's so obsessed about him, and he just really wants the approval of Samaritan, where that's the whole purpose in terms of where they're going with this film. There are a number of things that are wrong with it in terms of we have a group of bad guys who is led by a guy, Ergon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, like the cool Greyjoy, and the group of bad guys for some reason are just a group of bad guys that want to be the best bad guys that they can be. Like, it's never fully explained exactly what their motives are for wanting to be the bad guys, but they all do have a common purpose in terms of they want to be the best bad guys they can be. And it's great that they got a goal, but unfortunately it never goes anywhere in terms of them explaining their motives or why they're doing what they're doing. Obviously, the main bad guy, Greyjoy, he has a massive fascination with Nemesis, which is the evil brother of the superheroes, and he kind of explains it, but it doesn't really hit it. Like, he wears the mask, so I'm assuming that he obviously wants to re-establish Nemesis' views, which are never explained before, like, at all. Like, we get to see riots in the street, and the combat in terms of, like, when Samaritan goes on his rampage, like, it's really brutal. Like, it's an M rating here in Australia. I'm assuming it's a PG-13 in America, but they missed a massive opportunity to really put this into the R category, because this could have been amazing in terms of allowing the brutality that it should have been. Like, it has quite a dark, gritty aspect throughout, and like seeing what the gang is up to, and like they could have really emphasized the riots. But after probably the first half of the film, like, it gets a little bit disengaging in terms of we're really just focusing on Samaritan, like, living his day-to-day life, because it's been 25 years since he's been, like, missing, and a bit gruff. Like, I know the concept is that the boy and Samaritan are meant to, like, have that sort of back and forth in terms of allowing their relationship to grow and trying to see what this crew are sort of doing, where I did kind of like the little gang, where I got a little bit sort of taken out by the main sort of little rat pack in terms of the three guys, and the main one is the kid from Hannah Montana. Like, he looks like they look like they've been inspired by 6ix9ine. Like, his image looks pretty much identical to 6ix9ine with like a few less tats, which was an interesting choice. I was probably far too focused on that, and I couldn't separate myself from seeing him as the kid from Hannah Montana. But like, I'm sure he's done a lot of roles since then, but I just really struggled to separate myself from it. But I feel like me focusing on that is what sort of led me to not see one plot point that I don't want to talk about. Like, I didn't see it till the end, and it did make all the choices that happened, like, reasonable. Like, I don't know where they would have went if they didn't have this plot point in there. But the final fight, when obviously Stallone is doing his, like, macho man, he does have one-liners, but they're not consistent throughout. Like, I want that consistency in terms of him having the one-liners just walking through. And you can see that obviously he has aged, but like this role back in his, like, heyday would have been absolutely ideal. But the fight scenes for him he's a little bit slower. Like, obviously he has aged and he can't quite do all the quick movements that he wants, but they sort of make up with that with the editing. Like, they're quick cuts and they're really good in terms of allowing that action and the brutality come through due to that editing and the film techniques, which is really cool to see. But like, he's just probably past that point where you can call him like a superhero, but they did play into that sort of age superhero, so it allowed him to obviously play the role that he's really good at, where I wanted more one-liners from him. There was a speech like right at the end. I really wanted him to do the Rocky speech, but it was kind of okay in terms of the speech, but it wasn't like the Rocky level where you sort of remember it about like, it's not about how hard you'll get hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. Like, I'm bad at impressions, but that you get the picture. Like, that's what I wanted. And the CGI right at the end, that was real bad. Like, up until that point, the CGI and everything was actually quite good. But the last one, they're in a house and it's on fire and it looked terrible. Like, there was too much going on. They couldn't allow like the computers or whatever they're doing to render enough. It looked like they were in front of a green screen. It looks like the sitcoms when they're driving in a car and it just looks terrible out the windows. But I can kind of forgive that because I didn't mind it. Like, it was a nice, enjoyable ride, but they just missed out on a number of different things in terms of allowing it to really flourish in that dark grittiness and having that consistent one-liners coming in. Like, they should have gone into the 90s action. And there are moments where it pays it like homage, but unfortunately it just doesn't hit that, where it's just unfortunate it doesn't hit that mark. So for me, it's a 3 out of 5. I'm not going to watch this again. I can't really recommend that you go watch it, but if you do like Sylvester Stallone, like, have a look. Like, it's enjoyable. You probably won't, you won't regret watching it, but you're probably not going to revisit it. So, yeah. So, you know what to do. We've got a podcast now. We've got vodcasts on the channel. We're also on Spotify. It's called Movie Talks. Have a look. I'm also live on Twitch on Tuesday and Thursday, 7:45 Australian Central Standard Time. And you know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more daily reviews.